ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्बोद्धूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ वर्स् 94 आनन्दमयकोशो यः सुषुप्तौ परिशिष्यते अस्पष्टचित्स आत्मैषां पूर्वकोशोऽस्य ते गुणाः. So Vidyaranya is talking about the confusions regarding the nature of a jiva, regarding the size of a jiva, regarding the identity of a jiva. And these confusions are prevalent among the lay people and also among the thinkers, philosophers. So after thinking, they commit a mistake. And lay people without thinking commit a mistake. And so right now we are talking about a special type of a confusion. I mean the third type of a confusion, that's called Swarupa Vipratipatti. Atma Swarupa Vipratipatti. Vipratipatti, Viruddha Pratipatti, Vipratipatti. Pratipatti, Jnanam. Viruddha Pratipatti, not Jnanam, confusion. So Vipratipatti is a confusion. Atma Swarupa Vipratipatti. Regarding the nature of a Atma, there is a confusion. And so, what are the confusions? Confusions means more than one. If there is a concurrence, it may not be a confusion. But here there is that's how they say, Dvikotikaha samshayaha. Samshaya, doubt, confusion. Well, Dvikotikaha, more than, for a one thing, there will be more than one opinion. Then there is a confusion. So here they say, well, someone says Atma is Achit. Atma is inert by nature. Someone says Atma is Chit Achit. Atma is a mixture of inertness and consciousness. And Atma is Chit Swarupaha. Atma is just consciousness. So three opinions are there. And these people definitely they are thinkers, naturally. After thinking, they have arrived at this conclusion, which is confusion. And the Atma is Achit, Atma is inert by nature, has been told by certain thinkers, certain group of philosophers. So they are, Nayayikas, Vaisheshikas and Purvamimamsaka, and that to a particular group of Purvamimamsaka called Prabhakaras. And they say Atma is basically, all have a concurrence regarding one thing, and that is Atma is all pervading. That's fine. That is, the dimension of Atma is this, Vibhu Parimana. But the nature, regarding the nature, they have a varieties of opinions. And so they say Atma is inert by nature, it is all pervading, but it is inert in nature. And a consciousness is born, a temporary consciousness is born, which is called a special property of a Atma, because it is just born and goes also. And when it occurs, well, mind gets associated with the Atma, then definitely this consciousness is born. The Atma is basically Jadam. By nature it is Jadam, in which the property of a consciousness is born when Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place, when both are connected. And very interesting thing is, they arrive at these conclusions by our own experiences. I mean, that's an experience of everyone. So that shows that basically what is experience is common, but what you derive from the experience varies. That's how a new philosophy comes out. So, he also says we experience that jadatva. We are losing consciousness in deep sleep state, and which is therefore in deep sleep state you are just by your nature, you are just with yourself, and you are jadam. You are not able to experience yourself, not able to experience the world, and so that is called jadam, which cannot experience itself, which is not conscious of itself, which is not conscious of the surrounding, is called jadam, and that is what you are in the deep sleep. And so Atma by nature must be jadam. And so not only this jnanam or consciousness is a property, special property of Atma, and there are certain other special properties also, and each of the property is not permanent. They are all generated by combination with the mind. Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place, and therefore in a waking state, in a dream state, there is a Sanyoga with the mind, and therefore, definitely, so in a waking state, consciousness is born, and other properties are also special properties of the Atma, they are also born, and that we have seen: Ichha, Dvesha, so Raga Dvesha, Dharma Dharma, Sukha Dukkha, and Samskaras, some of the Vasanas, impressions of that Sukham and Dukkham, etc. They all are temporary properties generated when Atma Manasa Yuga takes place in waking state and in dream state. And in a deep sleep state, mind resolves, and therefore Atma Mana Sanyoga also resolves, and then Atma becomes Jada. So that shows Atma is basically it is inert by nature. It is temporary, becomes consciousness in a waking state and dream state due to Sanyoga with the mind, due to combining with the mind, getting related to the mind. And Atmas are many. Atmas are all pervading, they say that, but Atmas are many, minds are also many, and so a particular Atma with a particular mind combination takes place due to karma. Karma of that Atma only. Karma of the Atma. So as Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place, he becomes Karta also. First Pramata, then later Karta. He does karma also, dharma, etc. generated. And so all the karmas are there of Atma. And when then karma gets fructified to experience Sukha Dukkha, Atma Mano Sanyoga takes place. And so then experience Sukham, Dukkham, and impressions are also generated, Raga Dveshas are generated, all special properties are generated. And when mind resolves, then Atma again becomes Jada. So very nice, clean philosophy, very beautiful philosophy, and everything looks very logical. See, this is a Nayayika, so they will not leave anything which is illogical. So everything looks very logical, but the basis is not there. Don't worry about it, we are discussing. So, but then what happens after this body dies? I mean, the karmas are exhausted. What happens? Prarabdha karma, etc. gets exhausted. So what will happen? So body dies. Body dies means what? Body dies means what? Mind has entered into the body, and mind and Atma is all pervading. So Atma is here also. Mind has entered into the body, and so when Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place in waking state and dream state, so Atma experiences varieties of the things. And all pervading Atma, which is Jadam, will remain in a state remain in its own state, in its own nature, when in a deep sleep state. And that's all pervading Atma will be there even in the Svargaloka also. And whatever the new body he gets, well, due to karma, there also Atma will be there because it is all pervading. Then mind enters into that new body, and then Atma Mano Sanyoga takes place, and therefore he experiences then, because the consciousness is generated, so well, he experiences his new body, Deva Shariram, and he experiences Svargaloka also, right? Because of consciousness, he is conscious of his body also, he is conscious of the world also, Svargaloka also, and so he experiences Svargaloka also. So this is how, I mean, so travel does not happen for Atma. So you may feel that that Atma from this body goes to the other body and experiences Svargaloka or whatever. Well, that mind goes, mind travels, because it is Anuparimana. Mind is basically a very limited entity, and therefore any limited entity can travel from one place to other place. Limitless cannot travel, and therefore even though we say Atma travels from this body to the other body to experience new world, etc., according to his karma, but Atma is all pervading. It is there even in the Svargaloka also, it is here also, and whatever new bodies new body is generated, mind will enter into that, and then Atma Manasa Yoga definitely takes place, and then he experiences, consciousness is generated, so he experiences his new Sharira also, he experiences outer world also, Svarga also, and that's how again there also Sukha, Dukkha, whatever will take place according to the karma of Atma. So this is we concluded this, this particular mata regarding the nature of Atma, that Atma is inert, Achit. Well, that is concluded in verse number 93. And in verse 94, well, we have got a new opinion regarding the nature of Atma, that is Chit Achit, mixture. Atma is basically, a part of Atma is conscious, part of Atma is inert. Not just inert. Not just consciousness is generated, basically inert and consciousness is generated. No. Atma is by default conscious also and inert also. Who says? Another group of a Purva Mimamsaka called Bhatta Mimamsaka, followers of a Kumaril Bhatta philosophy. So, and this Bhatta Mimamsaka does not refute this Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas and his own brother's philosophy called Prabhakara's Mata. They don't refute. So to refute this Nayayika's Matam, that Atma is inert, that's our job, it's our homework. So this Nyaya Vaisheshika is negated in, I am giving you just reference, I am going to discuss also. Nyaya Vaisheshika philosophy that Atma is inert, etc., is negated in Upadesha Sahasri by Shankaracharya ji. In Brahma Sutra also, an exclusive portion is there which is negating that thing. And but this time I won't tell you that you better go to Brahma Sutra or better go to Upadesha Sahasri. Let us negate. Let us create let us let us put the objections to this Nayayikas. How do you call Atma is inert? Like that. So I am giving you few objections, or let's say few arguments, in order to refute this particular matam that Atma is inert. First, if Atma is all pervading, sarvavyapi, it has to be unconnected to everything. This is the first thing. If Atma is all pervading, any all pervading thing pervades everything and pervades the things which are opposite in nature also. So, well, all pervading like Akasha. Akasha pervades a light also. Akasha pervades a darkness also. Then definitely if it pervades both, then it is unconnected to the both. And therefore anything which is all pervading, because you say Atma is all pervading, right? We are telling him, you say Atma is all pervading, Vibhu Parimana. Then if it is all pervading, it is unconnected to anything. It will be asanga. And also another thing, if Atma is all pervading, it must not have any parts. It doesn't have any parts. But Swamiji, space is all pervading. The space we call Niravayam only. And even if you say space is all pervading, it is in a relative sense. It is not all pervading. That is just in a Vyavahara example. If you keep aside Atma and talk about something all pervading, then Akasha is the example for that. But basically when you bring Atma also into the discussion, then space is not all pervading. Even Atma pervades the space. Space doesn't exist beyond consciousness. You cannot say space is without consciousness, okay? And very space is the very isness, it belongs to the Atma only. Where is the question of space is all pervading? It has been refuted at several places. One of the place where space is refuted as all pervading, that is Taittiriya Bhashyam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that Anantam. There Bhashyakara discusses, well, don't think Anantam is Akasha is Anantam. No, Brahman is Anantam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. There he discussed that Akasha is not Anantam. And therefore don't think this Brahman is just Akasha. Akasha is inert entity. It's not all pervading. We have discussed also several places. Because Anantam comes means in all the ways. Deshakala Vastu Aparichinnam Anantam. Deshakala Vastu Aparichinnam. Deshataha Aparichinnam. Kalataha Aparichinnam. Vastutaha Aparichinnam. Tad Brahma alone. That Akasha is not, you cannot call Akasha is limitless in terms of, object wise, it is limitless. You can't say that. Because Akasha is one of the element out of 5. Limited. I am one of the human beings residing on the earth. So I am limited. I am limited. Object wise I am limited. In fact, if I say I am a human being, by declaring I am a human being, I say I am limited because I am not a computer, I am not a book. When you say I am a human being, so that shows a object-wise limitation. And therefore, well, Akasha being Akasha is limited, object-wise. Because Akasha says I am Akasha, means I am not Agni, I am not Vayu, I am not this. No, Swamiji, everything is one. Then why 5 elements? Why 5 elements? No, Swamiji, Akasha is actually, Akasha is everything. Then if Akasha is everything, then why Akasha has a one property? Then what is the element which has a two properties? What is the element which has a third property? Means there is another element which has more than one property, and therefore Akasha is limited. You may say Deshataha, well, you may say space, in place-wise, Akasha is limitless. Okay, let's agree to that. Kalataha, well, it cannot be, but I'm agreeing with a person. Time-wise also, Akasha is not limitless. Understand very well. When you go to sleep, there is no Akasha. There is no Akasha. Why? But I sleep in Akasha. Alright, you sleep in Akasha. But once you sleep, Akasha is gone. This empirical space is gone. You may have your own Akasha creating in a dream world. But this space is gone. What is gone is not limitless in terms of time also. And therefore, anyway, so I should not divert here. But because this thing comes into my mind often. Whenever we think of limitless, we have just one thing to think of, and that is space. We don't go beyond. And well, the very thinker is limitless, in fact. And that the very thinker in terms of the consciousness pervades even Akasha by existence and by consciousness. Well, and therefore, anyway, so whatever is all pervading, and it must be Niravayava also. It must not have any parts, because whatever has a parts is definitely a product, and it is limited. It is limited in time, it is limited in space, and it is limited in object-wise also. So these are the certain principles which are eternal principles, and that with those tools in the hand, you can definitely refute all the philosophies. Anyway, so if Atma is Niravayavam, definitely, it's all pervading really, and then definitely it does not have a parts, it is not a product, Atma is not a product also, anything which is a product must have a parts, and therefore it cannot have any connection. To have a connection, things should have a part, because like I am connected to this chair, means certain part of my body is connected to the chair, part of the chair, not the whole chair, right? Part of the chair, if that seat portion is connected to my body also, but that in that body also a part of that is connected. A part of one thing is connected to the part of another thing. That is called connection, which is limitless, which does not have any parts. How the mind gets connected? How the mind gets connected? Which part of the mind is connected to which part of Atma? Which doesn't have any parts, and basically which is all pervading, does not have any connection with anything. Then how mind gets connected to Atma? They don't have answer. Really, they don't have answer for this. So it's just presumption. They think, because they are Nayayikas. Logicians are most illogical people in the world. Logicians are the most illogical people in the world, because after thinking a lot, they come to some conclusion which is really funny. It's a really funny conclusion. Atma Mana Sanyoga itself is not possible. Forget about generating consciousness. And that is your philosophy. You are telling Atma is all pervading. If you are not telling, if you are saying Atma is have a certain dimension, well, definitely it must have a certain avayava. Then part of the Atma gets connected to the mind. Mind also is have a certain dimension, means alpa parimana, and Atma also has a certain limited dimension. Then they are get connected. But you say Atma is all pervading. Then all pervading Atma, how it is connected? How it is connected to the mind? So it can't have a sambandha with the mind. Okay, this is the first argument. Second, even if somehow you say, somehow, and we also go with you, because we are very comfortable. We become uncomfortable when you cannot resolve the doubt. When you can't resolve, if somebody asks a question and you are not able to answer, definitely you, right? This is my own experience, okay? So you don't worry about it. If somebody asks a question and if Swami cannot answer, then he gets baffled here and there, and you can see also on his face also. I mean, you can see in my face if I can't answer. So we are very comfortable. Atma is all pervading, does not have connection with anything. First, this principle cannot be challenged by anybody. Remember my thing. And the best example I have told you about Akasha. Akasha is unconnected to anything. All pervading Akasha. In terms of example, I am saying, all pervading Akasha pervades everything, is unconnected to everything. And Akasha is all pervading. And let us take, it doesn't have any avayavas, it does not have any limbs. And therefore, you cannot say that this particular part of Akasha is connected to this particular part of a book. You cannot say that. So it is unconnected, and does not have any parts, and therefore it cannot have a connection. This is the argument. Second thing. But if somehow you say that Atma and mind gets connected, well, an Atma being all pervading, gets connected with the mind, should be there all the time, always, right? You say when Atma and mind gets connected, when you have to drop, because what is all pervading definitely will be connected to a given thing all the time, right? So basically, the example, I tell you one thing, clip and hand, you can say clip and hand can't be connected all the time, right? So because right now I don't have any connection with the clip. Now I have a connection with the thing. Clip and hand gets connected all the time. Sanyoga and Viyoga with the clip, right, will be possible Why? Because both the things are finite. And right now, I will give you another example. Your body is connected to the room where you are sitting right now is possible. Because room also is a limited entity, finite entity. Your body also is a finite entity, and therefore they have a connection. And that is temporary. Sanyoga, Viyoga, that is temporary. Because when the class is over, you just get up from the chair and go to other room. So you are connected to other room. Now that connection with this particular room right now will go away. So Viyoga with this room takes place, and Sanyoga with a new room takes place later. So why this Sanyoga Viyoga takes place? Because both are limited. Both are limited. Body is also limited, room also is limited, and therefore that is possible that your body is connected, is right now found in this particular room. Well, after 1 hour, your body may be found in another room. So right now your body is connected with room number 1, and after 1 hour that Sanyoga is there right now with room number 1. Your body has Sanyoga with room number 1. After 1 hour, well, your body will have a Sanyoga with room number 2 and Viyoga with room number 1. Sanyoga Viyoga is possible, well, when both the things are finite in nature. And therefore, well, but if one thing is infinite, you say all pervading, and then another thing is finite, then the connection is all the time. Like, now I will take another example. Your body and Akasha. When Sanyoga and when Viyoga. Body and particular room, yes, Sanyoga, Viyoga, correct. But body and Akasha. When Akasha gets connected with the body, when Sanyoga takes place of your body with the Akasha, and when Viyoga of body takes place with Akasha, when? You can't talk about. Why? Because Akasha is infinite, all pervading, all the time connected to your body. Right? So if one thing is infinite, other thing is finite, then that infinite thing already is pervading that thing. So connection is there all the time. And therefore, oh dear Nayayika, you say Atma is all pervading, mind of course is limited, and when mind gets connected to Atma, that kind of a question should not occur. Mind is connected to Atma all the time. And therefore, when mind gets connected to Atma, Sanyoga takes place with the Atma, then consciousness is generated. Don't talk about it. Then consciousness is generated. Then Ichcha, then Dvesha. When and then is not possible. When one thing is all pervading or infinite, that is not possible. Anyway, so this is a second thing. In fact, it is over. He is flat now. We will not have to worry about. But third thing, Shankaracharya ji makes fun of this person, and that is in Upadesh Sahasra. He says, well, when Atma and mind joins together, now it is not possible, but to make a fun of him. And we definitely make fun of logicians. We don't make fun of lay people. Because logicians vehemently goes against the principle of the Veda. And in order to protect the principles of the Veda, because we are Vedikas, they claim they are Vedikas, but they are pseudos. Because for them, tarka, the yukti, the logic is the thing, is the prime thing to arrive at any conclusion regarding anything. Very, very, very funny conclusions they have. That's how Pujya Swamiji used to tell us not to go much into this logic. So he says, don't go into that because you become funny. Well, if you become funny. So study Vedanta thoroughly with a certain basic infrastructure of the education, etc. That is sufficient. In those days, well, this formal education was not there, and therefore you had to develop your faculty of reasoning. Well, you will study this Nyaya, etc. But now it is not a question. Our formal education is sufficient to give you a very good infrastructure of reasoning. Anyway, and that is required for Vedantic students to have a good capacity of reasoning. Otherwise, your intellect is not going to assimilate the principles of Vedanta. Anyway, I have talked about it also before. So Shankaracharya ji makes a funny, this is a third argument. He says when Atma and mind joins together, you say special properties generated. It may be a jnanam, it may be sukham, it may be raga, it may be dvesha, etc. It may be dharma, adharma, etc. All these 9 properties we have seen. So when Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place, a special property is generated. That is what you are saying. And when it gets dissociated, Atma and mind gets dissociated, well, this special property goes away. Now he says in that Upadesha Sahasri chapter 15, this argument is there. Well, so you say that 9 properties of Atmas are there. Let us assume that when Atma and mind gets associated, joins together, one property called this asukham, or let's say sukham, the sukham is generated. And then, well, that is resolved. Then Atma and mind joins together, then consciousness is generated. So, because to generate any special property, you say Atma Mana Sanyoga should take place. And therefore, 9 properties are there, all special properties of Atma. And therefore, to generate any one of them, the Sanyoga should happen. And once the Sanyoga happens, a particular property is generated. Now, to generate another special property, this Sanyoga should go away, and now a new Sanyoga should take place. So when Atma and mind joins together, one special property out of 9 called happiness is generated. And then now, to generate another property called dvesha. Now this association should go, dissociation should happen. And then again Atma and mind joins together to generate dvesha. Then, well, to generate jnanam, consciousness, well, this association should dissolve, should go away. There should be a dissociation. And then to generate jnanam, there should be another Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place. A new Sanyoga should take place. Because 9 properties you are talking about. And they are generated when Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place. So to generate any one of them, definitely a new Sanyoga should be there. And therefore, so when Atma and mind joins together, happiness is generated. Now, to generate consciousness, well, this Sanyoga should go away, Viyoga should take place, and then Atma mind joins together again to generate consciousness, Jnanam. So, well, this is funny thing. So, Jnanam generated by, Sukham generated by the first combination is gone, and then, well, to generate Jnanam, etc., well, another combination, new combination should take place, so the etc. So then, well, so Sukham, etc. is there, but consciousness is not there, because to generate consciousness, well, you should have Atma Mana Sanyoga. But then Atma and Mana Sanyoga has already happened, and then Sukham is generated. Now Sukham should go in order to generate that consciousness. So Sukham is there, then consciousness is not there. And consciousness is there, then Ichcha is not there, or Dvesha is not there. What is this? What is this? This is a very funny thing, actually. So because don't say any special property, this is what their premise. Any special property is generated when Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place. So when Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place, out of 9, 1 is generated, other 8 are not there. Then Sukham is there, but consciousness is not there. What is this? Because to generate consciousness, Atma Mana Sanyoga should take place. If that is there, Sukham is not. This is a very funny thing. And so so Shankaracharya ji says, well, this is very funny. Don't talk about it. Even if we go along with you, right? So even if we go along with you, and really, and let us accept that Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place. That is not possible at all. But suppose it takes place, then also, well, this looks very funny if you think further. And finally, this is a yukti virodha, right? So we are giving a logic to the logicians that what you talk about is all illogical. That's what. So we have not uttered a single word that what Shruti says regarding Atma. We have not said. Till in these arguments, 3 arguments, we have not said anything. Oh, Upanishad says Atma is pure consciousness. We did not say. Because these logicians will understand the language of a logic. They will not understand. Because in their minds, basically, they have a priority. They give a validity to their own thinking, rather than giving a validity to the means of knowledge called Shastra. So you should first talk logically to them. And we showed that what you talk is illogical. Yukti virodha. Yukti, logic. Virodha. It is contradicting logically also. So now we are talking Shruti virodha. Why Shruti virodha you should talk about Shruti virodha to them? Because they say they are Vedikas, Astikas, okay? Nayayika, Vaisheshikas and this Purvamimamsaka called Prabhakaras, they are basically Astikas. Astika means what? Astika means Asti, Asti, Vadati iti Astika. What Asti, Asti, Asti? What Asti? Vedaha Pramanam Asti. Veda is a means of knowledge. Veda is a means of knowledge. Veda is a means of knowledge. That is what their japa is. And so we say, well, then if you say Veda is a Pramanam regarding the nature of Atma, etc., then just check what Veda says. Show us a single place in any Upanishad where Veda has said that Atma is Achit. Atma is inert by nature. Show. In fact, well, all the Shruti says Atma is consciousness by nature, not inert. Atma is Jnana Swarupa. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Taittiriya Upanishad. Prajnanam Brahma, right? Etc. Taittiriya Upanishad. So everywhere, this is just I am quoting few. Everywhere you will find the statements regarding the nature of Atma, that Atma is consciousness. Jnanam Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, etc. Vijnanam Brahma, whatever. All indicating consciousness is the nature of Atma. Nowhere it has been told that Atma is Achit. Atma is Chit. And in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is an exclusive portion to establish that Atma is Jnana Swarupa. That is called Swayam Jyotir Brahmana. Swayam Prakash Brahmana. Jyoti means Prakash. Swayam Jyoti. Atma is a Swayam Jyoti. Atma is consciousness by nature. And therefore, O Nayayika, if Nastika talks about such kind of a thing, I will not quote Shruti, because he is not accepting Veda as a valid means of knowledge. That is how he is called Nastika. Nasti, Nasti, Nasti iti vadati saha Nastika. He all the time says Nasti, Nasti, Nasti. Veda is not a pramanam. Veda is not a pramanam. Vedaha pramanam nasti iti vadati saha Nastika. Vedaha pramanam asti iti vadati saha Astika. Veda is a pramanam. That's what you are saying. Veda is a pramanam. Then I am telling you, Veda does not talk what you say about regarding the nature of Atma. So, you are going against what Veda says regarding the nature of Atma, and so better you accept Veda as a pramanam. So, logically you are not able to give an answer that Atma is of a temporary consciousness. This consciousness is generated now and then, and Atma is by nature basically inert. That does not stand logic. You are not able to answer when we raise these objections to you, all the 3 objections. And so you are going against the teaching of the Veda. And so Shruti Virodha, Yukti Virodha reveals that Atma is not Achit. Okay? Now Bhattas. Now the second matam, right? So in verse 94, this Bhatta matam, who says Atma is a mixture of both. He is coming closer. Everyone is coming closer to Vedanti. Atma is Achit, so he is far away from us. Now closer is this. Atma is Chit plus Achit. So little near. Because we are one who says Atma is just Chit. You are just Chit, not Atma is Chit. This is not Vedanta. Atma is Chit Swarupa. Atma is Chit Swarupa. That is not Vedanta. You are Chit. You are self-conscious. You are self-revealing all the time. You are the one who reveals even the presence and absence of everything, body, mind, sense complex and the world. Without you, where is the existence and where is the revelation of anything? Starting from a thought, starting from ahankara. Even to say I notion, to say I, you require you, a witness consciousness, to be there. And even that I notion resolves, still you are there. So you are witness. No one can negate you. That's your nature. This is called Ajnanam Brahma. You are. And what is the dimension of it? What is the dimension of a witness? Please tell us. What is the dimension? Oh, I am of the size of this body. Yeah, you are witness of the body. You are basically distinct from the body. You are distinct from the thought. You are distinct from the senses. What is your dimension? What is your dimension? Tell us, what is your dimension? Any dimension, you say you are of this dimension. For that, well, that particular thing should be object of you as a witness. You say, I am of this size. Then definitely you are objectifying Atma. If you are objectifying Atma, that is not Atma, it is Anatma. I am of the size of a human body. A human body, when you say, then how do you know that you are of the size of the human body? I know I am of the size of the human body. You know that you, the knower, is this witness. What you know is not you. What you know is not you. If you are able to objectify the human body, well, definitely it is not you. And therefore, well, definitely, this just by the way. So this Jnanam Brahma, this consciousness, which witness consciousness is Brahman, is all pervading, no dimension. Anyway, yaha anandamaya koshaha sushuptau parishishyate, this Bhatta says. When you go to sleep, all koshas are rejected. Annamaya, pranamaya rejected. You are not no more identified with prana. Your prana is gone. I am not saying that. Nothing goes anywhere. Even when you say body goes away, somebody said like that. In deep sleep state, body goes away. Where it goes, where it flies, nothing goes away. Everything resolves from where it has come. This is what the whole magic is. Everything ultimately resolves into the source from where it has come. Just resolves temporarily. It just resolves. And therefore, well, definitely the mind, body, sense, everything resolves into this Karana Shariram. From where it has come. Anandamaya Kosha. From where it has come. So Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, all, well, definitely are rejected in deep sleep state. Rejected means they are resolved. And then when we come to this Jagrata Avastha, well, you get again united to this, means they again arise from them, from this Anandamaya Kosha. And well, so these four koshas, they are subject to arrival and departure. Anything resolves into its Karanam. So Karyam resolves into Karanam. Karanam is relatively Nityam. Karanam is relatively Nityam with comparison to Karyam. And therefore all the four koshas which are Karyam, all the four koshas means basically gross body plus subtle body, okay? When you say Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya and Vijnanamaya, all these two bodies are covered. And these both are Karyam. Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram are Karyam. And Karana Shariram is a Karanam for that. And therefore, Anandamaya, in terms of koshas, all these four koshas, well, they are subject to arrival and departure. And they resolve into this Karanam called Anandamaya Kosha. And therefore, that is not my nature. I am not Annamaya, I am not Pranamaya, I am not Manomaya, I am not Vijnanamaya, etc. They are not my nature. And we already rejected also. And well, like my t-shirt and trouser and etc., shirt, etc., they are removable, they arrive and they go. That's not my real nature. So in Sushupti, Anandamaya Kosha is there. That seems to be my nature. But even after resolving everything which is left over, that must be my nature. And therefore, this is what Bhattamimamsaka says. Anyway, so Anandamaya only remains, and because I am not able to give up Anandamaya, and therefore I am Anandamaya kosha. So, this is how this Bhattamimamsaka says. So, then he himself asks, what is this nature of Anandamaya? What is the nature of Anandamaya kosha? He answers, Aspashta Chit. This Anandamaya kosha is a vague consciousness. Aspashta, vague consciousness, Chit consciousness. So, a vague consciousness, obstructed consciousness, concealed consciousness. Why concealed consciousness? Because there is another amsha of this consciousness, of this Atma, which conceals it. So basically, concealed by this Jada amsha of Atma. So Atma is basically consciousness, and it has a Jada amsha also and Chetana amsha also. Jada amsha covers, conceals this Chetana amsha. So, so Chit Jada amsha is this nature of the Atma. Atma must be mixture of Chit and Jada amsha. So during Sushupti, this Chit amsha is heavily concealed, covered by Achit amsha. So, Saha Spashta Chit Atma or Sarupam of all previous kosha. Annamayadi koshas are there. Then the Atma of all this Annamaya kosha is this Karanamaya, Anandamaya kosha. So they all must be the temporary property of Atma. So Purva koshaha te gunaha. So all these four koshas are gunas of that Atma. Gunas come and go, but this Atma is there, which is of the nature of Anandamaya. That is there even in a deep sleep state, when even they are resolved, Annamayadi, etc., they are resolved or they arrive. So they are subject to arrival and departure, these four koshas. Basically, Anandamaya is the nature of the Atma, and in which, definitely, and that Anandamaya is of the nature of Aspashtachit. It is concealed consciousness. Consciousness is covered by, basically, its own amsha, Jada amsha, covers that. Now, verse number 95. Guda Chaitanyam Gudam Chaitanyam Utprekshya Jada Bodha Swarupatam Atmano Bruvate Bhattaha Chidut Prekshotthita Smrute. He himself explained how Atma is Chit plus Achit. He explained how it is a mixture. Aspashta Chit means it's a mixture of two things. It is a Chetanamsha and it is Jadamsha. If it is just pure consciousness, then there is no question of concealing. Then it is Spashta Chit, pure consciousness. It's Spashta Chit, but it is Aspashta, means it must have two parts, and one part is covered by the other. Chaitanyam is Gudam, he says, Gudam Chaitanyam. Gudam means concealed. Concealed by Jadamsha. Gudam Chaitanyam Utpreksha. Utpreksha means presumption, presume, postulate. Gudam Chaitanyam Utpreksha, Atma is concealed, that is presumed actually. So Bhattas presume this concealed consciousness. How they presume? From the deep sleep state. So this concealed consciousness which is obtaining in deep sleep state, that is presumed by these Bhattas. And this presumption or Utpreksha here is another pramana we have, that is called Arthapatti pramana. I have already told you. This inference is Anumana, and our Arthapatti is presumption. And we have seen that while I gave introduction to Kenopanishad, then we discussed all the 6 pramanas. And of course, if I remind you here, Arthapatti means basically what? There is something, anyway, I will come to that, don't worry, I will explain Arthapatti Praman. So here he says, Gudam Chaitanyam Utprekshya Jadabodha Swarupatam Atmanaha Bhattaha Bruvati. This is how Tanvaya of this verse. So Gudam Chaitanyam Utprekshya Jadabodha Swarupatam Atmanaha Jadabodha Swarupatam Bhattaha Bruvati. So Atma is concealed, that is what this Bhattas presume, and that from there they arrive at the nature of the Atma, and that is Jadabodha Swarupata, Jadamsha, Bodham, Chetan. So Jadabodha Swarupata, Atma is a Chit plus a Chit. That is how they have arrived at this kind of a conclusion from the presumption, Utpreksha, by presuming what? Gudham Chaitanyam, that Atma is basically concealed in deep sleep state. Therefore, it must have two amsha. One is a concealer and the other is concealed, definitely. If it is a just pure consciousness, then there is no question of a concealing, etc. But if Atma is concealed, if we can postulate or we can presume, then definitely Atma must be of the nature of mixture, Jadamsha and Chetanamsha. And Jadamsha basically covers a Chetanamsha in deep sleep state. That is how they say. Jada Bodha Swarupata means, Jada means Chit, Achit. Bodha means Chit. So Jada Bodha Swarupata, well, it is, Atma is a mixture of this. By nature, Atma is Chit plus Achit, that you can arrive at by presumption. And presumption that postulate we have arrived at of analyzing the deep sleep state, in which we found the Atma is basically concealed. If it is concealed, there must be two amshas. One is a concealer, other is concealed. Could you follow what I am saying? We will be seeing in detail, but this is how he says that. And Bhattaha Bruvate, Brudhatu, you know very well. Brudhatu, Atmanipada, and it is this present tense and Prathama Purusha Bahuvachana. So Bruvate, declare. Bhattaha Bruvate. So Bhattas declare that Atma is a mixture of Chit plus Achit. How do they presume such thing? Yeah. So presumption is Arthapatti Pramanam, as I said. So whenever we presume something which is imperceptible from the perceived fact, that is where this is, then we call it as a presumption. And I will give you example also. So to explain the perceived fact, definitely I postulate something which is imperceptible. I postulate some fact which is imperceptible. So, the fact is presumed to explain a perceived fact, is Arthapatti. Like right now, when I said this much, and from your face, I presume something, that whether you remember what I said about presumption, whether you remember or not, I can definitely postulate. From what? From my face. From your face. Right now, if I am talking all this thing, and your face, which is perceptible to me, from that face, which is perceptible, I can presume something regarding your memory, which is imperceptible to me. Could you follow now? And I give you now example. Like, you see, suppose there is a raining. You are awake during a day, let's say. You are awake and it's a raining and roads are wet. Right? Both the things, roads are wet, perceptible. Raining, perceptible. Clear? But when you wake up in the morning and you find roads are wet, perceptible. From that, something imperceptible, you presume. What? During night it must have rained, because you are fast asleep, and that too in air conditioner. I am talking about India right now. Okay, so so it's a air conditioned room. All the windows are closed and air conditioner is on. So you did not hear any sound of a raining, etc. And you have not seen also, and you are asleep. So it is imperceptible to you. Rain is imperceptible. It was raining in night, that is imperceptible. It's a fact, but it is imperceptible to you. And you are in the morning, you see the roads are wet. Now to explain that perceived fact called wet roads, you presume. You presume what? Night rain, which is again fact, but which is imperceptible fact. Is it okay? Clear now? It's imperceptible. Like I put on, suppose when I come to US and then you meet me. This is a standard example of a Vedantin. I have brought out from my pocket. Okay. Devadattaha pino bhavati. Pina means put on weight. So basically, when I come to US and you see me, it's a perceived fact that I have put on weight. But you can't explain. If Swamiji had gone before 2 months, he has not put on so much of weight. Now he has put on weight. So even though it's a perceptible fact to you, you are seeing me, it's a perceptible. And the fact is I have put on weight. Now to explain that, something which is imperceptible for you, you have to presume. What is imperceptible? That I have eaten and eaten and eaten. All bhikshas and bhikshas and bhikshas. Morning, evening, afternoon, all the time eating and eating. I am telling something fact, to you. All the time eating and eating and eating and eating. That is imperceptible. You are in US, I am in India. It's imperceptible. It's a fact. What is perceptible fact for you is that I have put on weight. That is perceptible to you. Looking at me itself, you say that. And from there, something imperceptible, which is a fact, you presume. This is called presumption. Okay? This is called presumption. Anyatha anupapattihi arthapattihi. Anyatha anupapattihi. Otherwise, this is not possible. So, Swamiji has put on weight will not be possible unless he has eaten. Anyatha. So, unless he has taken, he has become foodie in India. And so eating all the time, as if he has not seen for several decades. He is eating and eating and eating and eating. And so, so the perceived fact cannot be explained unless you take into account a imperceptible fact. So to postulate a imperceptible fact is called presumption. To presume an imperceptible fact, something which is imperceptible cannot be fact. It is fact. It is imperceptible to you. It's beyond your range of senses, because you are in US and I am here. So it's beyond your range of senses. So it is imperceptible, not available for your perception. But still it is a fact that I have eaten food here. So to explain the perceived fact, what you presume which is imperceptible fact, is called presumption. Anyway, so this is enough, I think. And so here also, Gudam Chaitanyam Utpreksham. So during deep sleep state, there is an experience, not perception right now, but we'll say there is an experience. What? That I don't know myself, I don't know world. Right? I don't know myself, I don't know world. So in fact, if I am a conscious being, I am conscious of myself and I am conscious of the world. Right? If I am a consciousness, then what should be there? I am conscious. When I say I am a conscious being means what? How will you define? Oh, Swamiji, you are a conscious being means you are conscious of yourself. I am talking about human being, okay? I am totally conscious of myself and conscious of the world. Right? What is Jadam? What is Jadam? Unconscious. Or what is inert? I am not conscious of myself. Like table. Table is not conscious of itself and table is not conscious of the world also. That's called Jadam. And I am a conscious being means what? I am conscious of myself and I am conscious of table and other things of the world. So this is how you define. Now you have an experience of deep sleep state. What? That you are not basically conscious of yourself and you are not conscious of the world. Means what? you are inert. You are inert. I am not talking Bhattas say. We have a very good friendship. Out of these two Purvamimamsakas, Prabhakaras and Bhattas, Vedanti, they say, Vyavare Bhattanaya. Vedantinaha Vyavare Bhattanaya. Bhattanaya means, well, definitely we follow Bhattam in Vyavara. So we have a very good friendship with these Bhattas. And these are our good friends. Bhattas talk about this. You have a direct experience in deep sleep state that you don't know yourself and much less you know the world. And therefore you are inert by nature. Oh, then I am inert, then these Prabhakaras also were saying that, and now we are also saying you are. No, sir. No, sir. We will tell you something else also. So, basically you are Gudam Chaitanyam. Here it is a different thing. These Bhattas don't say consciousness is generated. It's a special property. When Atma Mana Sanyoga takes place, they don't say that. They say Atma is consciousness all the time. Not now and then. Now and then they don't say. This is a big difference between Bhattas and this. So Atma by nature Chit. But your experience in a deep sleep state indicates you are inert also. Therefore you are mixture. We'll be seeing that, don't worry. We'll be seeing in detail how they have arrived at. But this is what I am saying. They don't say Atma is inert by nature and consciousness is generated as a property now and then. That has gone, that matam. These people say consciousness is not generated, it is not a property. Atma is consciousness all the time. But at the same time, your deep sleep state experience reveal that you are inert also. That is how we say Atma is aspashta chit. Atma is concealed consciousness. Gudam Chaitanyam Utprekshya Jadabodha Swarupatam Atmanaha Bruvate. Bhattaha Bruvate. So Atma is of nature of both that we have arrived at by Utpreksha. Utpreksha, by presuming what? Gudam Chaitanyam. That Atma is concealed. Atma is Chit. Atma is consciousness. All the time conscious. That is the nature. But it is concealed consciousness. It is covered by Jada Amsha also. And how do you know that it is Jada Amsha? Because you have an experience, you have a direct experience that you don't know yourself and you don't know the world also during a deep sleep state, and therefore there is a Jadamsha of Atma which is a concealer of the Chit Amsha. Could you follow? So Atma is Chit plus Achit. This is how it is. So this is one thing. But how Atma is consciousness? How do you say? Atma is Chit, okay, it's my direct experience. Okay, I accept it. Because in deep sleep state, it's my own experience. Direct experience that I don't know myself and I don't know the world. Well, so I'm Achit, that's fine. But I'm Chit also. How can I accept that Bhatta say that Atma is Chit Swarupa also? He says that Utthita Smritehe Chit Utpreksha Utthita Swarupe. Chit Utpreksha Utthita Smritehe. Utthitaha Smritehe. Utthitaha, one who has woken up, that person is called Utthitaha. Utthitaha Smritehe. Smritehe, or that person who has woken up has a smriti. Utthitaha smritehe chit utpreksha bhavati. This is how we do the anvaya. Utthitaha smritehe, the person who has woken up has a memory, and from that we presume. So you are achit, that's your direct experience, that's a pratyaksha for you in a deep sleep state, and you are chit, that also can be arrived by another means of knowledge. That is a pratyaksha, that you are achit. That's your direct experience. But you are chit also, well, that can be arrived through presumption. Once you wake up, then you have a memory. And what is that memory? We will have to wait for 24 hours. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.